And here we go. Woo! A week of playoff talk on 93.7 The Fan, ladies and gentlemen. And who was the one man in Pittsburgh who called it, who said, I got a sneaking suspicion the Jags will win and the Steelers will win? Donald Football.
I think you should have the first real word today. What are you, got tonight's winning lottery numbers, big man?
The only man that had the biggest balls in the city to
big old Wilson leather footballs.
To bet the Steelers and Jags to win. What a nice payout on that. Congratulations on all of your success.
Thank you.
And did you not tell us that you made the devil's wager $6.66 on a parlay?
I bet $6.66
now are you
to win $127.
Are you the kind of guy that wishes you had thrown like 15 on there now and there's going to be bettor's regret that your actual parlay came through and you didn't bet more on it? Like you should have known all along, clearly the Jags were going to pull the upset of the NFL season, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I guess a little bit, but it is also funny the amount that I put on it because I did make the joke once I told my buddies. I was like, we got to deal with the devil. We got the devil on our side here.
Oh, look at you. You're unbelievable. I got to make a confession to start.
This is bliss, but go ahead.
No, I got to confess something to start here because I want this, after I get this off my chest, I want this to be a full steam ahead playoff talk kind of week.
Okay.
I went to bed last night at 29-14, Raiders over Chargers. I go to bed at like 11:15.
Why? Why were you so exhausted?
I just was up early.
Why would you throw in the towel on the last game of the year?
I just did.
Why?
Because I thought it was over. The Chargers were showing
was
no
Alex
consistent
making
life.
eyes with you and you thought that there was a chance?
No, she was already asleep, bro.
For a late night?
No, she was already asleep. I got upstairs.
They say pregnant women are more in the mood. That's what I've read. What?
She was already asleep, man. There was no hanky-panky. There was no, like,
so why the hell did you go to sleep then?
Because I was tired.
I hate you.
And I thought 15-point game with 8 minutes to go or whatever. They had just kicked the field goal to go up. There is no way these two idiot teams.
The 15 made me way more nervous than 12.
Yeah, I saw somebody tweet about that. 15. I'm thinking, no way. And then an hour and a half later, I had just gotten into a good part of my slumber, and one of the dogs, for some reason, needs to go outside. So first thing I do, though, is I'm trying to just hope the dog will jump back up and go back to sleep. Wrong. Look at my phone. My mom texting me at midnight.
She was a trooper staying up to watch it.
And my dad, because she had started to drift off, and my dad was ironclad. He was watching. She goes,
There's a true fan right there.
OMG, are you watching?
Nope.
No response.
Snoring
my
your balls
buddy
off.
Tom, who I hadn't talked to in like several months, who only texts me sports things when something huge happens. Dude, this game is wild, LOL.
Yep.
Donnie Football. And thankfully, Donnie Football gave me some clarity. I see a text from him. It's just a video. And the first thing I see is the little score bar, 32-32, OT, 2 seconds left. And I can't say what I said quietly to myself in the darkness of my bedroom when I saw that video without even playing it, but I was gobsmacked. Then I go on Twitter and see Pony having like a midlife crisis in the span of 20 tweets. Mm-hmm. I thought he was going to get put on a watch list for what he was saying about Collinsworth.
Yep.
But I am the guy who is suffering from severe FOMO today. Fear of missing out on at least 3 or 4 sports-centric heart attacks last night at around midnight.
I think it was the craziest day in NFL history, and we were at the epicenter for that. We were right in the smack dab in the middle of the whole thing.
Well, the Steelers are the primary beneficiary and stood to be the primary like gut punch loser of it. It was insane.
The range of emotions from when I got out of bed and woke up yesterday to when I turned the TV off was not healthy. It could not be good. Any cardiologist or doctor that deals with stressing and that kind of thing is making a living and earning his money or her money today. Because I went into it like most Steelers fans thinking, Pittsburgh can win in Baltimore, but come on, what are the odds or the chances the Jags are going to do it? And damn it, to their credit, those teal and gold bastards that
Not only did they do it, they
had just lost by 40 to the Patriots and hadn't won a game since Urban Meyer had been fired. They came out and stopped
a mud hole
in the Colts from the opening kickoff.
You know who stomped mud holes in people?
Lawrence started 12 for 12, man.
Do you know who stomped mud holes in people, Donnie? Do you know that guy's name, that wrestler?
Oh, that would be Stone Cold Steve Austin.
You know what Pony needed last night? While he was watching old Chrissy Collinsworth just drum up support for a tie?
I actually couldn't drink because I thought it was going to make things
Here
worse.
is Andrew Filipponi, timestamp 11:11. Make-A-Wish. Here we go. Definitely short. Great call. I'm just going to read in sequence, Donnie, Pony's tweets. Raiders, you have got to be kidding me. This isn't cool. It was 4th and 21. Why is Collinsworth messing with us so much right now? Collinsworth, chill out. I might have my second heart attack of the day.
Yep.
This can't be happening. Collinsworth is loving this tie scenario way too much. He's like rooting for it. This doesn't feel like real life.
Yep.
I hate replay. Then a little bit of hope. Chargers might go for 2. Au contraire, mon frere. I'm dead inside. Collinsworth screw off, which is my personal favorite.
Like that one, Donnie?
Hold on. This is where you really get into the full Pony experience. The fact that the NFL still has ties is a black eye for the league.
Correct.
Never mind the fact that the Steelers got in because of a tie. I'm in a bad place right now, and then the most Starkey-like of all of these tweets. My stomach hurts. I hate this so much. He dropped it. Dude, you went on for literally 30 tweets.
I know.
This is a stain on NFL football.
Yep.
And then you came all the way back around to this game just took years off my life, but I loved every second of it, which is, I think, what most people who were hale and hearty enough to watch that whole game and not chicken out like I did and just go to bed like a boring old idiot. That's probably what they felt. I had people saying it was the wildest sequence of events, like you said, from start to finish, that they watched all year.
Yeah, well, the perverted nature of the tie being the one outcome that screwed the Steelers, and it almost coming to fruition, it felt pretend like I was in a simulation. I'm sitting there on my couch at like midnight thinking, this is a movie, or this is not real. What's happening here?
I joked with you and I said, wouldn't it be funny after the 2 games we had needed to go the Steelers' way, theirs and the Jags had, I tweeted out like laughing. Imagine if you just turn on Sunday Night Football, you see Staley smirk, Bisaccia smirks, Carr smirks, and they start kneeling down. Instead, they play a wildly entertaining game that almost honestly ends in a tie. Like, if that game had gone to a tie, right? If they call timeout like they did, right? And that 10-yard run is a 2-yard run and the guy misses a 55-yarder, I can't rip them. They both left it out there, man.
I want to get calls in on this. Steelers fans' reaction to the day that was, staying up late to watch that game, unlike Mueller.
Yeah, I was going to say, or not.
Your take on how they got in, what happened, what it was like watching all of the games yesterday and biting your nails down at the end. 412-928-9370. The Gatekeepers, Donnie Football, who believed in the Steelers all along. Your chance to weigh in on what was the craziest day in NFL history and maybe Steelers history at 412-928-9370. We'll get to those calls coming up. We'll give you a chance. The timeout has been the most debated thing today. Did Brandon Staley put the Steelers into the playoffs? Is he to credit most for the fact that the Steelers are still alive and getting ready to go to Kansas City? And here's why, in the moment, if you were up like I was, unlike Chris, watching that game, your answer is yes. Because on the previous 2 plays, it looked like the Raiders were content to just run the ball and let the clock go. Now, they weren't going to kneel because I think the optics of that is something that they just didn't want to deal with.
But they were going to kick a field goal still. They were
No,
I
don't think so.
So they were just going to keep running the ball?
It seemed to me like
the optics of that would look, if you're inside of 60 yards and you don't kick.
I disagree.
The optics of that would look bad too.
I don't really? A 57-yard field goal, the chances of making that are less than 50%.
Yeah, but if you kneel down, then the chances of scoring a point are 0%.
Yeah, but you don't need a point.
Well, 3 points.
Okay.
My thought watching it back, not watching it live, I was
Chris,
asleep.
when they started,
you know why Staley's to blame is to thank?
When it's
under, he can't defend the
when
run.
it's under 2 minutes, and the Raiders decide to just run the ball, they're at the Chargers' 45-yard line. You don't kick a field goal from there.
Yeah, but if you
that's
get
a 63-yarder.
If you get 8 yards, if you get like 8 yards running the ball there on a couple of plays,
okay,
you kick 55 yards.
So they don't get they go backwards. It's 2nd and 11 with 1:20 left.
Mm-hmm.
At the Chargers' 46. They get 39. I mean, they get seven to get to the 39. I'm not convinced they try a field goal from there.
Well, then they run one more play
because
on
here's
34.
why. Here are the things that can happen. It gets blocked, like what happened in Green Bay earlier this year, although the ref screwed it up. A guy like Minka picks it up, takes it to the house. Or because it's long,
it gets returned.
You have the guy back, like in the Alabama-Auburn game.
How many combined blocks, though?
I know, but like that's a moment I think where as a coach, especially because he's a special teams coach, the Raiders coach, he takes that. I think he takes that into account more than any other coach does.
He's believing in his guys more than anything in that moment.
So wait a minute.
We can make a 57-yarder.
So wait a minute. You think...
I think they still were going to kick a ball all
So
along.
you think they'd let the clock run all the way down to 2 seconds, call timeout, and have that be the last play of the game?
No, I think they were possibly going to run one more play, and I think where Staley, you say Staley did his timeout give the Steelers the win.
Well, see, I
give
think
them the playoff
Chris,
it's the fact that Brandon Staley's whole philosophy is don't care about defending the run.
I'm telling you what it felt like live. Schefter tweets out, "These two teams are giving up." He says it after the second down run. He tweets, "The game's going to a tie." And it just felt like both teams were like, all right, you want to get -1 or 7 yards here, fine. And then I think when Staley called the timeout, like a light bulb went on for the Raiders, like, wait a minute. They actually want to stop us here. Like, we're not, like, because you're not, there was no signal from the sideline to communicate that they were in cahoots. And on the first two plays, it almost seemed like they were both, all right, we're in on this. We know what's going on. We threw the ball to move to this spot in the field. Now we're in a safe place where, we're not going to risk if we turn the ball over or something happens. You're in scoring range and can beat us. We're in that no man's land gray area.
Here's Bisaccia. It was a conversation about
wait a minute. Do you want to just hear it?
Yeah, I want to hear this. Yes.
In his Italian accent?
Yes, of course.
Was there any consideration to just running down the clock there and not even attempting a field goal?
Yeah, it was conversation. We were talking about, I don't know if you know, we ran the ball there, and they didn't call a timeout. I think they were probably thinking the same thing. The big run got us, we thought was advantageous field goal position for us. We were going to take the field goal and try to win it. But we're certainly talking about it on the sideline. We want to see if they were going to call a timeout or not on that run. They didn't, so we thought they were thinking the same thing. And then we popped the run in there and gave us a chance to get the field goal to win it. So we're certainly talking about it.
No. You just tried to talk over, and then we popped the run in there, which is a huge component of this.
He's saying they didn't call a timeout after the first down run, so he figured
I get what he's saying.
We're thinking the same thing. We're both going to play for a tie. And then when they called the timeout after second down, he's like, well, wait a minute. They're not playing for the tie with us. They're actually trying to stop us here.
The Raiders had motivation, period, I would think, although it becomes bulletin board material to still try to win that game. They get the Bengals as a result.
But here's
they would
the
have
thing.
had the Chiefs who have smoked them.
Here's where that logic doesn't hold up.
Why?
Here's where it doesn't. I agree with you that it makes sense for the Raiders to try to win the game because I'd much rather play Cincinnati than Kansas City.
So why weren't they trying harder the previous plays?
So when it's 1st and 10 at the Chargers 45, why don't they throw the ball? They put it in Carr's. They put it in Carr's hands the entire game.
Still going to get conservative.
But not if you're trying to win. If the play 1st and 10 at the Chargers 45 is the only thing that matters to us above all else is winning the game, they don't just hand the ball off to Josh Jacobs up the middle. They don't.
How do you know that?
Because that's not what they've done the entire game, Chris. If they had success...
So wait a minute, because a team runs the ball or passes the ball most of the game, they can't try to get cute and maybe sneak a run in there for a big gain?
Okay, so it goes for -1. It's 2nd and 11. If you're trying to win the game, you run it on 2nd and 11?
You're just being very risk-averse.
That's not trying to win the game.
I think they were going to run the ball all along,
Time
and
out
I think the only thing Staley's timeout did...
Wait, you did not watch this game live.
Brandon Staley, I thought, set his defense with his timeout more than anything. Wanted to make sure he didn't give up a first down.
Yes.
And that's where he actually gave the Steelers their spot.
But he was wrong in thinking that on 3rd down, the Raiders are trying to devise something
Raiders have
to
a timeout
win the game.
Left, correct? Raiders still did have a timeout left?
They weren't in a situation... I'm telling you right now.
You are convinced that they were going to just let the clock run
Yes.
out. They weren't even going to attempt a field goal. And you don't think the optics of that would have looked bad.
Chris,
you're falling back on,
wait a minute
the kick
here.
is short?
Wait a minute. If they're really trying to win the game,
yes,
then why don't the Raiders call timeout after 2nd down? Give themselves more time to move into field goal range. They're not in good field goal range at that point.
After 2nd down.
Yes.
It's 3rd and 4. They're at the 40, they're at the 39, so they got a 57-yarder.
Yes.
Right?
That's not why didn't they call timeout?
It's still makeable. So they're at that point. How many seconds were left when Staley called it? 38 seconds, right?
Yep.
Had the play clock just started to run there?
No, there was 5 seconds left when they called
on the play
timeout.
clock.
Yeah, so they could have run it down to 34.
So I guess
seconds.
my point is, Raiders maybe are just going to run one more play right then and there, call their timeout heading into 4th down as the clock's about to expire, and kick their field goal. It might be a 52, 53-yarder, but I don't think they're just going to sit there and squat and say, no way.
I think
no
they
way.
No, hold on. They were looking at that play like coaches look at 3rd and long backed up in their own territory. We're not going to do a friggin' quarterback sneak like the Giants did against Washington, where it's a clear give up.
Very nice, Joe.
But we're going to run a draw play or something, and if we hit it big, great. If
I just think you're overestimating, or you're, I guess, underestimating how makeable a mid-50s field goal still is for guys. I know 47's a lot better even. To me, if Brandon Staley gave the Steelers – hold on. If Brandon Staley did anything – that gave the Steelers a playoff berth or gifted it to them. It's not that he called timeout.
I think it was.
It's that philosophy, his philosophy all year has been, we are going to let people run the ball on us because we're bend, don't break, and that has been so beaten into their heads that they're horrible at actually defending it. No, the guy set his defense with a timeout, and they still couldn't stop him from getting 10.
But I think that was the signal to the Raiders that oh, wait a minute. We're not working together here? Like, I think they thought.
So you think the Raiders just thought that they were getting the eyes from across the bar from Brandon Staley?
Yeah.
Why don't we both go in like Thelma and Louise?
Because on 1st down and 2nd down, when they just run the ball.
I think they were just a team completely in control of the game and the clock at that point, and they were going to say whether it's 53 yards or not, we're going to have the last play.
I'm telling you right now, watching it live, those 2 run plays, it did not feel like the Raiders wanted to win. It didn't. Donnie, when you saw the Raiders run the ball on 1st and 2nd down, did you think the Steelers were screwed? At that moment, I thought, oh, my God, they're actually both playing for a tie.
I was definitely sweating a little bit. I won't lie. But then
when the timeout happened, were you like, whoa, what is going on here?
Yeah, it was very out of the blue.
So these last couple of plays, so this is LA's final possession. 17-yard pass, 7-yard run, lose 5, 11
you mean
yards.
Vegas, not LA.
Yes, Vegas's last plays. It's not like they're not getting yardage on these plays. The full give-up strategy here, the wink-wink give-up, I'm sorry, it falls apart when they're still ripping off chunks of yardage here.
What do you mean? They were all pass plays to lead up to that. That's why it didn't make sense.
They had Josh Jacobs for 7 yards on their second play of the drive after 17 yards.
I'm saying
2 passes on 1st and 10. You're basically basing this off of the fact that on 1st and 10 they lost a yard, even though they gained 7 more.
I'm telling you right now.
Yes, you were watching the game, and it felt like they were playing for a tie because that was DEFCON 1. I disagree. It looks like they were in control of the clock.
So when Adam Schefter says...
Adam Schefter probably got that pushed through Mr. Editor. He probably asked somebody before he tweeted it.
I mean, I hate Collinsworth's guts right now, but go back and listen to Collinsworth and Michaels when they run it on 1st down and 2nd down. They're like, oh, my God, they're just content to tie the game.
So you are convinced that those two are the completely accurate arbiters here?
Not only them. Carr after the game. Did the timeout change everything? Yes, it did. Austin Eckler with a Raiders player after the game. What were you guys trying to do there? The Raiders player puts his hand over his mouth like he's a pitching coach talking to a pitcher at a mound visit powwow, and Eckler's face is like, you got to be kidding me.
Oh, that's the long snapper. I guess he would have been snapping on the kick.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Thought about that one for a second. That's where you should have led this debate. The long snapper. That's the more smoking gun evidence. Or do you say that to Eckler just to twist the knife on him?
I think Staley was just not in on the. It went in over his head.
I still think they would have attempted a kick, which is where we fundamentally differ. Even if it would have been 56 yards, they were going to kick the ball there. They were going to give it a shot. Because if you let that clock run out like you were suggesting you think Bisaccia would have, I know you say, oh, the optics of kneeling down are bad. The optics of doing that are just as bad.
I just think without calling a timeout, running another running play with 5 seconds left, even if the Chargers don't quote-unquote have their right defensive look in the game, I think it's a very casual running play. I think it's just like, all right, see what you can get here, but like, the Raiders on that 3rd down without a timeout are not doing everything they can to try to get yards to get in field goal range. I just don't think so. Watching
Wouldn't
it live.
It make more sense if they were truly I don't know. I can't imagine that a timeout changes their philosophies that much because you're also saying that
then why would Carr say it and why would Bisaccia say it after the game?
That they're courting so much risk. But Bisaccia doesn't really say it in the purest terms. He says it was being discussed, not that it was going to happen. That's a huge difference. If you went into court and said, hey, Rich Bisaccia was playing for a tie, and then you gave us that quote, they'd throw you out.
No, he just sounded like a guy that wasn't all that interested in winning the game.
You didn't prove anything here beyond a reasonable doubt with him.
Until he said, when we hit the big run, then I said, let's kick the field goal 47 yards. That's what he said. Not until Jacobs gained those yards.
If Jacobs gains 4 yards there,
he had a chance.
If he gains 4 yards, do they kick it?
He had a chance to say after the game, I trust Carlson so much. When we were there for a 57-yard field goal, I believed that he could make it. So, yeah, we were playing to win the game. He didn't say that. He said they needed the Jacobs run for him to go for the win. He's a special teams coach. He could have said.
If Jacobs gets 5 yards there, do they kick? And it's 52.
Maybe. But from that answer, you cannot discern that they try a 57-yard field goal. You just can't.
You can't discern that they wouldn't, though, either.
But he had a chance to say right there, all this silly stuff about playing for a tie, it's bogus. When we got to that yard line, I knew we were going to kick it to win the game. And he didn't say that. So
you are inferring that his omission means guilt.
And Carr's statement and what the long snapper said to Eckler, yes. Come on, man.
I think you want it to be this way.
I didn't want it that way.
I think you want this to be the case.
I was practically throwing stuff at the TV. I was so upset with what was going on. I couldn't believe my eyes.
I think you want to believe that Staley is the hero Pittsburgh needed.
He is.
I think Bisaccia was going to kick no matter what there. I don't think that game was ending.
And he grew up a Browns fan. It's just same old Browns.
I do not believe that game was just going to end there on the field with no kick attempted. You can tell yourself that if you think it makes the story better.
I'm not the only person who believes that.
Well, lots of people believe things that are wrong.